how many ways can spirit communicate with us? And would you benefit from studying with a teacher to go deeper into these communications and understand how many ways spirit can communicate with us? It's endless.
Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
So this is Angelscapes podcast. I'm your host, Nancy Smith. We want to welcome Lisa Mandell tonight. She's going to talk to us about, well, she's a medium, she's a psychic, she's a Reiki practitioner, and she's a teacher from West Pittsfield, Pennsylvania. And we're going to talk about the many ways physically, mentally, and etherically spirit communicates with us. And we're going to discuss working with teachers to help opening up yourself to these new kinds, or they're not new kinds of communications, but all of these different ways, because sometimes we expect it to go a certain way, or we think if spirit loves me, if spirit's going to talk to me, it's going to be this way, and it's never that way. So Lisa and I are going to kind of open you up to break some myths, bust some myths. So Lisa works with so many different things in her it's called the Starlight Academy for Metaphysical Studies. And she also teaches at Lilydale. So we're going to talk a little bit about what she's offering at Lilydale. So welcome, Lisa, to
Thank you.
Angelscapes. So cool to have you here. So let's just start with, how many different ways does spirit communicate? We've got physical ways, we've got emotional, etherical ways, we've got mental ways. What's your favorite way? So.
I usually start with the clairs because the different ways that spirit communicates with each person is a little different.
Yeah.
Some people naturally hear better. Some people naturally see better. Some people naturally feel better. Some people are a little closed off in how they feel things. So if they're looking to feel a hug from, their loved one in spirit and they don't feel it, then they're like, oh man, they're not here. And it's just, they're going to work with you in the way that works best for you.
It's true. True. And sometimes they come in with surprises. I'm going to tell you from my point of view, where I was like, what is that? Oh, that's spirit talking to you. It is. And it's not a haunting. It's just spirit saying, you haven't listened to me any other way. Hello. But it's wonderful.
I think one of my favorites, though, is a song. You have the songs that you associate with a certain person.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're songs that were very popular a while ago, but aren't popular now. And then you go into the grocery store and that's the song that's playing. Then you get in your car and you're listening to a totally different station and that's the song that's playing.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then you go
absolutely.
someplace else and that's the song that's playing. You're like, I haven't heard this song in years and now I just heard it 3 times. What's going on?
Yeah.
That's them
So
saying hi.
they're saying hi, and it's like, who's saying hi, or what else do they want to say, or did I ask to speak to them? Yes, I did. So it's, it's really, really cool. Flashing lights is one of my hello. I was doing a service Sunday, and I was bringing this message to somebody, and apparently Spirit thought it was very important that they listened, so they flickered all the lights on in the church. And people went, whoa. And I said, I think I need to repeat that message. So it was terrific. And I had lights going on in my house that had no business going on at all. They were battery lights. They weren't even wired up, and they just poop turned on. Like, okay, what have I been thinking about? What does spirit want to get my attention to? But yeah, there's and then there's other things that you can learn, like table tipping, and there's mediumship skills that you can learn. Everyone has mediumship ability, as far as I'm concerned. It's just either developed or it's not developed. Or maybe it needs to be developed. And sometimes you want to have that mediumship ability when your loved one has died. Maybe you have never worked on it before and you kind of get a smattering of something's coming in, but the grief gets in the way or the expectations get in the way. So,
And the self-doubt, was it really them? Did I just make it up?
right?
Did it happen because I wanted it to happen or because it
Right.
was really them trying to
Yeah.
get through to me?
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, we can outthink spirit in a heartbeat. Yeah. It was a miracle that it came through and they're like, nah. It's like I'm not gonna take that seriously. So
I see
but
that a lot in class too. We have a weekly medium and psychic development class, and I have people who come in and they're like, I think I hear something, or I think I felt something, or I think it was a visit from this one, but maybe I was just making it up. Maybe it's all in
yeah,
my head. Maybe it's
yeah.
just not. And then they partner with somebody else and they get messages for their partner in the same way, and they're like, "Oh, it was the same. Does that mean that that was real too?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, kind of pay attention, honey. Take it in. Let it sit. Um, I feel like I've learned table tipping from so many different people, and I've learned it from you at Lilydale. Again, I seem to need to learn it a lot before. But anyway, that is an amazing way. It's very physical. But anyway,
Oh,
to show. Whoops, I think I had a little something happen. Oh wait, so um, so table tipping is you're a great tipping
I
teacher.
love table tipping. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorites. Um, and I've been doing more of it with more people lately. So we've been learning some of the different things that spirit wants to do with it once it gets past that first, oh my gosh, the table moved. And we've been trying different, with more light, with less light, always in light. It's never in the dark that we're doing it. But with some people, we're getting more phenomena than others. Some we're getting the table where it just tilts in and leans into the person and it's standing on one leg and it holds there. And they're like, oh my gosh,
Oh,
what's this mean? It's like the table is your spirit person coming in and giving you a hug.
it's
How
like
awesome is that?
oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. It is awesome. It's gorgeous, and God, they turn up themselves upside down. They get all excited. Spirit. It's not the table getting excited. It's spirit getting excited through the medium of the table, which is
Mm-hmm.
very, very cool. Um, you've shown us. I see spirit a lot through the corner of my eye, or I'll see a glimpse in a mirror, or I'll see a reflection in something. And a lot of people come with a photo that they took the photo was just fine, but there was something in the mirror. So you did a beautiful class teaching that one time, and I thought it had to be something special, and you were just showing us how no, it's very easy. It's very simple, very practical. You used a smoke machine. You showed us mirrors. You saw, so the seeing something. I don't know. Explain that a little bit. If I look at the corner of my eye and I see something and I turn and it's not there anymore, obviously that spirit is coming in indirectly through peripheral, but that works with the smoke and stuff too.
Yeah, but it's also, I think we block it more when we turn to look. So when we catch it out of the corner of the eye, spirit's coming in and our brain hasn't engaged the ego yet, the me yet. And as soon as we catch something and we turn, it's like, I now must see blank.
Yeah, yeah,
And it doesn't really happen that way, at least for most of us.
yeah, yeah,
um, but giving them something, a medium to work with, not like a medium, a person, but whether it's a table, whether it's smoke, whether it's a candle, giving them something that they can work with helps people who are more doubtful, who
mm,
need more reassurance, have that physical something that they can see. So when we were doing the spirit photography with the smoke machine, we let the puff of smoke go by in front of a black mirror or in
yeah.
front of a black cloth and just took a whole bunch of pictures. And one of my favorites was one of the women who was attending, had done a meditation with me the day before when we were meeting our guides, saw in her mind's eye what her guide looked like in the smoke picture. saw a picture of,
Wow.
caught a picture of her guide, and then was
Yeah.
able to take that, do a Google search on it, and find her. And
Wow.
that helped her to validate what she got in the
Yeah. Yeah.
meditation.
Yeah.
And then she had a physical representation that just, really solidified it all for her. So that was
Okay.
pretty awesome. Doesn't happen all the time, but
No,
that
it
was really
doesn't.
awesome.
That was a gift. That was awesome. And hearing these stories helps us to be more curious, to look a little more deeper. You have taught uh many students to look a little further. I never thought of that, or I didn't realize that could happen this way. So I think when in the class with the smoke, people never occurred to them that that was a thing. And taking the photo, sometimes you see things in photos that you don't see with your mind. Again, with your mind's eye, which is attached to your ego and expectation. Yeah.
There's a picture I shared also in that same class of a friend of mine and I were walking out of the woods in Lilydale and snapped a selfie and didn't see anything around us. But when we looked at the picture later, it was a digital picture. When we looked at the picture later,
So,
it was her, me, and my husband who had passed 20 years before.
that was
And it was
amazing.
just
Yeah.
like, how do you do that?
They do that. Yeah, they are very clever. Physical mediumship, which is table tipping and stuff, but there's also other kinds of physical mediumships where spirit expresses itself, shows up.
Hmm.
So, and then there's trance, going into that trance, going in, and what does that trance? How does that help mediumship, or how is that connected to mediumship?
Trance is really nothing more or less than an altered state of consciousness. When you're zoning out in front of the TV, playing a video game, it's that same kind of level of you're here, but you're not really here.
Right.
Some artists, when they're painting or drawing or writing, and they get into that zone, that's an altered state of consciousness. Trance is just like that. Um, when we do mediumship readings, a lot of times, a lot of us will go into a light trance. So we're still fully present, but part of our consciousness is more tuned into what's going on the spiritual side than on the physical side. When you go into a deeper trance, you're even less consciously aware of what's going on out here in the physical and more about what's going on inside. When you get into an even deeper trance, for me, I don't totally get knocked out like some of them do. But for me, when I go into a deeper trance, it's like the TV's on in the other room. So I can still hear what's going on, but I'm not paying any attention to it.
Okay.
But if something happens, if somebody calls my name, that brings my attention to the conversation and out of the trance state and into the here state. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. In the trance state, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that happens, that the trance state is can bring in the mediumship. It can bring in physical mediumship. It also brings in healing. And you're in
Yes.
that trance state, you just bring through that amazing. You have that really deep connection with spirit and energy, and healing can happen. Physical, mental, emotional healing, and then or portals can open up, and things can get delivered through them. So
I have a medium who's coming to the Starlight Academy next month who's going to be spending the whole weekend teaching trance healing, getting into
nice.
that trance state, connecting with your healing guides, connecting with the healing guides for the person you're working with, and just creating that healing space.
Oh, that's lovely. To find out more about that, you want to go to journeywithlisa.com. Is that the right website where
Yeah.
all of your events will be posted there? So as you go to look up journeywithlisa.com, you have a lot of pro events coming up over the summer, especially. Um,
We do. You can also find all of them on the Facebook page for Starlight Academy for Metaphysical Studies. We have weekly classes on physical or psychic and medium development. We have meditations a couple times a month. We have Reiki shares where basically it's a free Reiki session for people to come in and get a taste of what Reiki's like. And then we have our special classes, like the trance healing class that we're going to be doing, like the sacred geometry and healing class that we're doing. We've got a table tipping class coming up. We've got a class on clearing your aura, clearing your
Oh,
house.
yeah.
We've got a very, very special one coming up in August when I have this amazing medium coming in who's going to be talking about spirit art and remote viewing and healing with colors. And I'm very excited about that.
Who is that that's coming?
That's going to be my friend Nancy Smith.
I'm so excited to go. Yeah, that's August 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, something like that. We'll get that. But I'm excited. We have a really, you and I are working together coming in June 15th, coming up for a whole week. Was going to be how many teachers is Susan and Teresa or Terry
Terry,
and the Wyoming Valley Ghost um,
those tours.
and tours, and then you and I teaching a whole lot of different ways of the way spirit communicates with us, and we just named a few of them. Um, the I'll be teaching remote viewing, and I'll be teaching spirit art because I'm a spirit artist, and how spirit connects with me, and how I use clairvoyantly or other gifts and just and draw their faces. Use color to heal. Anyway, but you're going to teach.
I'm going to be teaching tarot, talking about different ways that spirit uses tools to communicate with us. Um, so tarot is definitely one of them. I'm also going to be teaching a class on cabinet mediumship.
Can't go
So
that.
we'll go a little bit into trance and how having a smaller, more confined space for the spirit energies to build up can make it easier to connect with them and get their messages from them and out to the person you're working with. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I'll also be working with John and Carrie Ann from Wyoming Valley Ghost Tours on paranormal investigations. And it's fun because I've gone on a few investigations with them and we've had some pretty good results with that. And I've got some tools that they've shared with me that I've been able to take into my seance room to see if spirit wants to use
Oh,
any of those tools to communicate with us. And
oh
we've had
wow.
some very, very positive results with some of those things too.
Oh, I'm
So,
excited. Oh, that's wonderful. I
and we're going to
just
share that with
yeah.
everybody in
And
Lilydale in June.
yeah. It's called a psychic sampler, or what's the name of this? That's not quite right. Body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah, it's a psychic sampler, so it's a
Yeah.
sampler of a lot of different tools and techniques and classes, body, mind, and spirit. And what we're trying to do is give people a chance to have a little taste of a bunch of different things to find out what calls to them and
Okay.
what it is they
Yeah.
want to investigate further and develop further.
Beautiful. There, I was there last year as a student, and then was invited this year to be a teacher, which I'm really, really honored to do. But as a student, for me, I watched a lot of people open up and realize the power that was around them that they don't see, through their normal eye. And we did tea leaves, we did table tipping, we sat in the cabinets and just blended in with spirit. Mediumship was there. We're going to do Akashic Records this year too, so we'll have a little smattering of that. So it's a lot of different things to experience to see if you're, especially if you're interested in moving deeper into what spirit has to offer. You could, not everything's going to be your cup of tea, but this is a lot of cups of teas in in this program. So I think having a teacher to help you open up rather than opening up to a book or just wondering what could happen, to have a teacher help you open up is so very important. And of course, Lilydale, such a magical place. So to sign up for this is lilydaleassembly.org. You can look it up on their calendar. The program, and also on lilydaleassembly.org is all the places you could stay, all of the B&Bs that are on campus that will be open for you to rent. And they're very reasonably priced, I thought. But
Oh yeah.
And then
There's
there's a,
also links on my website and Facebook page.
oh,
If anybody, is looking for a shortcut, if they don't remember, all the things in
yeah.
all the order, it's just, they can just click on it there. Our pictures are on it so they can say, oh, I know Nancy, this is the right one, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's terrific. Yeah, and Lisa and Nancy, yeah, well, and Susan Barnes is pulling this all together. She's now, if you look back into all of the podcasts over the past few weeks, you'll see you can listen to um, Wyoming Valley Ghost Tours. Carrie Ann and they were I'm sorry, John. I was going to say John. It's like what's went wrong with my head. And you could hear them talk about those amazing stories. And then Susan was on the podcast, so you can go and listen to her talk and get a feel for what she has to offer. This is the second time Lisa's been on, and so use these podcasts as a way to familiarize yourself with who's going to be teaching, and so you can kind of be confident. Sometimes we go to a strange place with strange people, and we're like, I have no idea what's going to happen. But the whole idea of these podcasts is to introduce you to teachers. So take advantage of this, and then each one of us who are teaching at Lilydale also teach privately on our own, and offer sessions or whatever. Each individual offers something different, and I feel like if you expose yourself, it's not scary. This is not haunting. This is not something to scare you. It's something to enrich your life. If as you expose yourself to the different ways spirits can communicate, you'll be amazed at what you've missed and what's really around there to help you. We're not doing this on our own. These lives are so darn hard, but we really aren't doing them on our own. So let's learn what's helping us is my sense. I'll take all the cheat sheets I can get, and Spirit has a lot of them. But
One of my favorite things about this, though, I enjoy going, I enjoy being in Lilydale, I enjoy spending time with all these nice people. But I think my favorite part about these conferences is the bonding that happens.
yeah,
People come in and say, I don't know anybody, or I just know the one person I came with. And by the end of the week, you've just got a whole bunch of brand new friends. The people who have come, there have been no egos in any of this. There have been
right.
oh, look at me, I can do everything.
Yeah,
It's just a nice blending of people and energies. And at the end, you're exhausted because, I mean, this week is jam packed with things to
yeah,
do from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night.
yeah. It is. It is truly is. We get start in the morning, and then you just when you want to go and hide under your bed, there's a whole nother event in the evening. So it's exciting and it's loving and it's safe. I
What else?
feel so safe that we have that you can explore Lily Dale in itself with its healing center and its the stump um, and there's a lot of fairies running around Lilydale if you're into looking for the earth beings, and it's just a lot of energy. There's been so much mediumship and so much energy work happening in Lilydale for a couple hundred years. It's saturated. It's a fun place to be.
The
um,
other thing about the timing of this conference is we're coming in the week before opening weekend. So Lilydale is getting all ready to open up for the season, but it's still quiet. You
yes,
know, you come
yes,
in and there's plenty of parking. You don't hear a whole lot of noise. It's nature,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the streets aren't crowded. The restaurants aren't crowded. Um, if you want to take a walk in the woods, you're not bumping into everybody or
true,
anybody.
true.
And then you get that nice time, that nice peaceful time beforehand, but you can feel the excitement building.
Hmm.
And then ours
Yeah.
ends and opening weekend begins, and all of the excitement just bursts open. And there's so much more to do once the weekend, comes that, if you want to stay for an extra couple of days and participate in all of that, there's a lot of wonderful things going on for the next 10 weeks.
I really recommend staying for that opening weekend. It's packed. It really is. The Tibetan monks come and they have um, all kinds of fun things that opening weekend, and you could feel the vibration happening. You could feel the excitement. So I really recommend staying if you can. Um, It's just, and stay on the campus if you can, because it's hard to get in and out when everything's opened up. Anyway, back to the way that spirit talks to us. Lisa, when you were just opening up, think about when you were kind of in a new beginning. I don't know when that was for you. Did teachers help you, or did you do it on your own for a little bit and then find teachers? How did that work for you?
Okay, for me, there was a time when I was younger and I had a little sister, and she and I, when we were younger, would do a whole lot because we didn't know that you couldn't. Um, when we got older, she went away to college. She was studying paranormal sciences at Duke. And then after that, but it wasn't anything really formal. We'd never gone to any real teachers. We'd never studied any of it, other than, the stuff she had done at Duke. And then, life got in the way. We got married, had kids, and then my husband died. And
Yes.
that was the catalyst for me to start looking for something more. Actually, when he got sick, we started looking for something more. And then
Hmm.
after he passed, things were happening and I needed more direction. So I started looking for it. And I was very blessed. Gloria Wyken from the Spirit Education Center and Sanctuary popped into my life, and I studied with her for a number of years. And she brought in a whole bunch of people from Lilydale on their way from New York to New Jersey. So I got a taste of Lilydale before I ever went to Lilydale.
Nice.
And then one day she said, "All right, you're done. Go out and do it." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 wait."
You know what?
I kind of
Yeah.
like where I'm at right now. And she's like, "No, you gotta, we're all little flames, and you just gotta put another little flame somewhere and light the way for
Yeah.
people who are lost."
Yeah. Just like you were looking for something else, now you are going to be the one to help that person or those people, lots of people, to find that something else. We're in a really big, I feel, change, a paradigm change for humanity. I mean, there's so many things on the table that I thought that was real. Well, it never really was real. What's real? Spirit's real. Your soul is real. Your life is eternal. And so, what are we doing here? And taking a look at that from a positive point of view, sometimes you need a teacher to help you, is a powerful thing to do right now as we go through these changes that are. Does that make sense to you? That's kind of where
It
I'm at.
does. And I've got to just digress just a tiny bit because Anthony Miklajewski just joined us. And we
Hi.
were talking earlier about different ways that spirit uses to let us know they're there. And you were talking about the flashing lights at the service you were at this weekend.
Yeah.
And I know Anthony's had some rather spectacular light shows when he's also been doing mediumship. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him because he jumped in.
Yes. Thank you for doing that, Anthony. Also was on a podcast. I got to get back on, but he was on a podcast with me a while back. You'll have to scroll back to the Wayback Machine, but you can find them. And as he's talking, uh, the lights behind him just get brighter and brighter and brighter. And then he kind of relaxes and they come back down. And then he talks again to get brighter and brighter. And that is worth seeing. That just, yeah, he brings the light in, that guy does.
Yes, he does. He absolutely does. And he'll also be teaching, I believe, the weekend after our conference.
I think so too. Yeah, yeah. I think I'm teaching after the weekend after the conference too. We have a little thing going on there, so I Anthony and I will be jumping back and forth between each other. So um, I'm really excited to introduce anybody, to stay to introduce to some other teachers. I really think you can't get enough teachers. How do you feel about that, Lisa? Because I some people say this is my teacher and this is what I learned and this is how it works, and then they find out that there's lots of other ways of doing or relating to something, and I think that especially when you're just opening up, exposing yourself to lots of different thought processes, a lots of different spiritual programs is a good idea. How do you feel about that?
I agree. It's one of the reasons that I think the psychic sampler is a great thing to do because it gives you an opportunity to see different teachers, to see different things that are available out there because people don't know. We don't have
Yeah,
a course catalog like we do for, your typical college or high school that
I wish we
includes this
did.
kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I think that anybody who's a teacher should also always be a student because none of us has all the answers.
Well, that's the thing, and then that's one of the reasons why I said that I took. I've been a teacher for years. I've been a medium for 20 years. I was so excited to be anonymously in this workshop, meeting all of these. And Anthony helped bring me in, and another person and said, "You got to go to this." So I went, and it was phenomenal. It did open up my world, and then a couple of really creepy things happened physically in my world as a medium. And I say creepy lightly because it was amazing. Where did this come from? And Anthony reminded me, didn't you do physical mediumship for a week at Lilydale? I said, oh yeah. But yes, if you even if you've been in a spiritual practice for lots of years, learn more, meet more people. We had that couple that came in, and this one fellow who did he did and this was new to me. I'm studying physical mediumship last year for the first time, and he apported gemstones. um
Michael Shane and Julie Adriani.
yes, 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 Michael. And it blew me away. And Julie, right, had
Mhm.
she has some little tiny paintings, precipitated paintings, she said they were. And Lily Dale's huge with precipitated paintings from the old days. And to see somebody come in with it happening, I was wondering, where is it? Is it? Because I would like to do some precipitated painting, and I have no idea where to start. And but here she has these tiny little beautiful pieces, and then Michael Shane was bringing in like handfuls. How does that work? Handfuls of gems. So could you describe that a little bit?
Sure. Basically, okay, just so you know, I'm studying physical mediumship too. I've not been able to do it myself yet, but I've been studying it for a few years now. So I've got some of the basics down of the what and the hows. And basically, what happens is spirits over on one side and they create a portal, a doorway. They open a doorway and they take an object not from somebody, but from a place where it's not needed anymore, like a coin in the sand. And they take it from where it is, pass it through to where they are, and then through this doorway to where we are. A portal can come from any orifice in the body. Ew. I saw a time.
We could go there, but maybe.
Let's
But
not.
where did the gems come from, Michael? I mean, this is kind of amazing.
Spirit creates a portal, that doorway inside his mouth, and then in front of his teeth or right behind his teeth, and then it comes out of his mouth. He opens his mouth and it comes out and onto the pillowcase.
It's amazing.
I saw Kai movie a couple of weeks ago, and he had apports coming out of his eyes, just like dripping down from his tear ducts.
Wow.
Um, Bill Bolt used to also do it from his mouth, but I've seen it come out of his nose. Um,
What is that? I feel like that has to do with a little bit of where the energy is. The spirit is using the medium's body, the energies,
yes,
to transform, to transport those things.
but Julie, when you're with Julie and she does the apports, hers generally they open the portal like in the ceiling and it comes down from the ceiling.
Yep. Yeah. I
I
saw.
like her way better, just for me.
Well, yeah, yeah, I know. I do too. I do too. We sat with Susan, and they were coming from the ceiling. One fell right between my feet. I heard it click, 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 and it was a tiny, beautiful little tiny gems, not a gemstone, but it was um, it was a crystal. I can't remember what kind it was, but it was beautiful, just size of your fingernail, and that came down. I like the coming from heaven, um,
Yeah.
or disappearing from nowhere. But
The folks who conducted the school experiments in like the 90s created, if you're a fan of Star Trek, a little transporter receiver. And
oh,
Spirit was able to put the objects that were apported right onto the platform that they created for it.
let's do that. When I see you in June, let's make a little.
I have one up in the seance room.
Oh,
We can check
bring
it
it.
out. We're working on
Yeah.
it.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun. And I'm saying that it will be fun. It does use the medium's energy. A medium has to go sit in the trance, build up the energy, build up the connection to spirit. So it does take practice and sitting
Hmm.
for a lot of time when nothing happens, and then spirit. So what happened? You said you haven't really brought anything forward yet. I haven't either. So I was wondering, have you, or what was the experience when something came forward for you?
I have not had anything
Okay.
apported into the room yet.
Okay.
But I've also been working on other things too. We were talking about the precipitated paintings that are all over Lilydale and at Camp Chesterfield, and that Julie's now producing. Um, it
Julie, do we know Julie? I mean, is it Julie
Julie Adriani.
Adriani? I'm sorry, Julie
Yeah.
Adriani. Okay.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Okay.
Um, but it starts with a precipitation box, like Hoyt Robinette uses. And
Okay.
that's, from what I understand, that's the way to develop it. Um, and if you've got a shoebox or a cigar box or something like that, you can start preparing it and putting the energy into it. We have not had any full words yet. The most we've gotten was a little clover was drawn, and that I thought was pretty awesome. But they did it with slate drawings too, where they took the old chalkboards, the little chalkboards, they would lay one flat, put chalk on it, put the other one on top, and then put a cloth over it, like a black cloth to keep
Hmm.
all the light out, and nobody touching it, so it's not the same as automatic writing. And then, sitting around with their hands, on the table or just putting the energy into it, and then carefully taking the cloth off, and then carefully
Hmm.
taking the top off. And they've had writing on there or pictures
Yeah.
drawn on there. And so those are the kinds of things that I'm working with mostly.
Oh, that's fantastic. Um, I sat. That's all fantastic because I sat because I was learning about it last year for the first time. This fellow named Scott Milligan. I don't know if you've heard this name.
Mhm.
Was doing it. It was teaching us, and then teaching us how to sit in that power and hold that energy and build that energy. And then he did a full-on trance session for us where you could hear the thing. There was a lot of toys in the middle of the room, and you could hear them moving around. And then one hula hoop came and touched every single one of us, just like a table tipping kind of
Mhm.
thing. But there was nobody touching the hula hoop. And then um, we had a sketchbook with sharpies in the middle of the room, and they drew on it. And I think they drew on an item, maybe a drum or something. But it was really kind of, when I say fun, there was a childlike feeling in the energy that came through. It was very beautiful, and I'm sure that you have felt that energy. It's lovely. Um,
Absolutely. I find that when people come into this very serious and very focused and very uptight, they tend to have fewer phenomena. People who come into it with a childlike excitement tend to have more.
okay, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to just make a box now and sit with the box. I'll go find a magic box somewhere. Does How did you pick your box to work with it? Did you
A
you
friend of mine, her husband was selling cigars. And so
cigar
she had a bunch
box?
of empty cigar boxes
Okay.
and went through the cigar boxes to find the ones that had the bottom that went up and the lid that went over it so that it would keep the light out. And then when I had narrowed it down to that, I found the one that I thought was the prettiest, and I took that one.
And
Have another
nice. Did you put do you put something into the boxes? Like do you put pens and paper or anything in there?
index cards,
Okay.
crayons, pens, paper or pens, markers,
Hmm.
crayons, sometimes a little bit of chalk, and are looking for something, not just like a little scratch, but something that like the clover that we saw one day, something that actually is a full letter or a full shape.
Okay.
And you can, one of the girls, we're starting that with my psychic and medium development class. And one of the girls said, "Oh, can I take it home and decoupage it and put on like pictures of things that are really important to me and mean a lot to me?" And I'm like, absolutely. The more you can get your energy into it and
Hmm.
your
Hmm.
positive energies into it, it just kind of like charges it.
Okay.
You take your phone and you charge your phone, you're
Yeah.
charging the box.
Yes, yes, that's what I've seen, that beautiful decoupage, beautiful paper mache on many of the things when I see people working. And just play. I think you're right. Just play and put your love into it and your energy into it, just like you do with the table. Sit with the table. When you
Mm-hmm.
start table tipping, I have a table that I tip and I just sit with it. I put my hands on it and I just talk to it and send it love, and I do it for a few, 10, or if I'm really feel like chilling out, I'll do it for half an hour and then just leave it and keep going back to it and it charges it. Um,
Yeah,
so anything that you charge with love will bring, it opens the portal. You're opening the portal with that, I feel like. Yeah.
yeah. And that's another reason why, I'm really glad that we've got the folks coming in next month to teach us how to safely close the portals, because some people open portals, don't know it, don't close them, and then they're wandering around and it's like there's stuff happening in my house and I don't know why.
Yeah.
And then they move out and somebody else moves in and they're like, what's going on and how do we make it stop?
Oh, so if you open a door, that one spirit, there may be another spirit wants to walk through that open door.
If
Okay.
you leave it open, anybody can walk in.
Open it, close, open it, close. Okay.
Yeah, any door you open, make sure you close.
So true. Yeah, yeah. I think you can open doors when you're aggravated too. If you're, the
Yep.
more you are in touch with spirit, the more that you are aligned with spirit, then you have a nice big rollout temper tantrum. You're opening a door. Just remember to close those too. But uh,
And the spirits that you attract in are going to match the energy that you're using at that time. So if you're in a loving place, you're going to attract more of the loving energy. If you're in a temper tantrum state, you're going to attract more of that energy. So you absolutely want to make sure anybody who comes in goes home and you close the door behind them.
yeah, yeah. I recommend that if you're in a doing the spiritual work and you find yourself, and we all do it, we all get to that, I'm gonna just rip your ears off kind of anger, put a protection bubble around yourself and give yourself permission to be angry in a sacred space where spirit is holding you, but you're not opening a portal randomly somewhere else. That's my advice.
It's good advice.
We can have our big emotions, but we need to have them safely.
Yes.
And when we start building our own power up with that connection with spirit, we need to be more and more mindful of what, because you could really whammy somebody without even realizing it, because
Hmm.
you're really aligned with some powerful power, some energy. And that's another thing. It's good to have a teacher around to help you sort that one out.
So what I found for me with the teachers is having a main go-to guy or gal who you can ask all your questions of, but being willing to branch out a little bit to learn more, because nobody knows everything. So I have
Right.
a lot of people who come to me for stuff and then go to other people for other stuff and then they'll come back to me
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, I learned this. Does that sound right to you?" And I'll be like, either I have a clue about it and I'll tell them, or I'll have no clue and say, "I don't know anything about that,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
can't tell
Yeah.
you."
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah. Um, I think our I just want to throw this in here. Our guides, we have teacher guides that are with us. And a lot of time I find I have somebody that I talk to pretty regularly, because some of the mediumship messages that I work with can be big. And so I need to say, do you know, I never thought anyone would ever do this or this would ever happen in life. And I get some support sorting that one out. So I'm not walking around with it. But also, I was going somewhere with this. Um, if you're the person, when I have a teacher, when I'm talking to somebody and I'm looking, I don't have the answer and I'm going to somebody who I know is spiritual, a lot of times I hear my guides talk through them. Um, that if they're the teacher's really waiting and they're listening to you, and then they'll guides and they'll get some information that maybe you're too close to it to get. And I texted you once with I got this weird thing happening in my house, and you were very helpful. I was like, I hope she doesn't mind, Lisa. I hope you don't mind. But that was when the lights were turning on in the house, and this one particular light turned itself on. That was a fluorescent light, but somehow it wasn't, and it was shooting out blues and yellows and golds, and I screamed. And it was a kind spirit who was very excited.
And a lot of times that's what it is. You know, we get a lot of people who contact us about, oh my gosh, this was like the feeling was overwhelming, or the phenomena that they were experiencing was, you know,
Right.
big and bold and in your face. And a lot of times it's just their excitement, their excited
Yeah.
energy
Yeah.
that's causing that. And if you could
Yeah.
just take that startled response and take a breath instead of just letting the startle turn into fear, you
Right.
can tune into, is that energy a happy energy, or is that energy a not happy energy?
Mostly they're happy energies, but I think, is this a pay attention to this is really truly happening, pay attention, or sometimes it's party, or sometimes it's I just love you so much, or sometimes you're about ready to make the worst mistake of your life. Just be quiet and step back. When you say, let's talk about this a little bit, when they're unhappy energies or when they're you don't feel like this is an energy I want to have around. What are your experiences on that? The Wyoming ghost tours, talk a little bit about that. But what are your thoughts on that? I don't want to scare anybody, but
Yeah, no, there are, first of all, I firmly believe that like attracts like. So the energy that you put out is the energy that comes back. So the more down in the dumps you are, the more angry you are, the more um, negative your personal emotions are, the more negative types of energies you attract towards you.
yeah.
I had a teacher once who said, there is nothing bad or evil on the other side. And I love her, but I totally disagree.
Oh, tell
I
somebody
think
about that. Yeah.
I think the universe likes balance. I think there's night and day. I think there's good and evil everywhere. Um, so why would it not be that way on the other side as well? I think that if we look for it, we will find it. So if you're looking for the negative stuff, you will find it. If you're looking for the positive stuff, you will find it. But there are times when negative people will find positive things and positive people will find negative things.
It's true.
Um, there are, just because somebody passes doesn't mean they change who they are, you know, and a lot of times when we're bringing somebody through, it's easier to bring through the nice, loving, you know, wonderful parent, friend, child, whatever. But sometimes there's just that person who was a horrible human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they haven't learned their lesson yet, they're not going to come through as suddenly a wonderful, kind, loving spirit. And, you know, sometimes you have to be open for that because that's the person they need to hear from.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, they need to come
Yeah.
in and, you know, if they come in as anything other than who they are and who they were, their people here wouldn't
I know who
recognize
they
them.
were. Yeah, I brought I think every medium could address this. That you bring in the mentally ill family member, and part of their healing. What I've understood this over time, was always done in the highest love and the highest respect. part of their healing is to make that reconnect from an energy, from a spirit energy, so they could learn and grow and heal from that. We are, and I've learned this in some of the shamanic native traditions. Is like we're in the present moment, and we're the hub of healing because we're in this human form, and spirit will come not to hurt us, and if they do, they're out, but or if they rattle our cage, they're out, but
Yeah.
to heal, to understand. I personally had my mother came through a couple of times. She was a tough nut, um, and a number of mediums had brought her through, but it was kind of like, well, that's really interesting. That was the medium's take on it. But a couple of mediums who were very clear mediums got what my mother was saying and got the struggle and the pain. And my mom, this was the most powerful message I think I've ever had. My mom had no idea how she impacted me. And by watching me from the spirit side and coming through the meetings, that I had no idea that I was doing that to you, and that it hurt you so much. It was really powerful for me. And I've taken a wild guess that it was powerful for her because she never in her life took a minute to look at that. And when we allow those unfortunate people in our lives who they're trying to love us, we're trying to love them, and they're falling all over the place. When we allow them to heal from the spirit side, we're a gift. It's a gift that we give them. I just wanted to add that in. She wasn't trying to do anything mean to me, but it was like tears were coming down. Like, yeah, you're not gonna, because she would always say something, and then she'd go, but, and then the whammy would come in, and she didn't do but and give me a whammy. She was really like, I didn't know. It was great.
And I've had some where they're not that far on the path of healing yet. And they're still kind of attached to some of their,
Could be.
but I did the best I could with what I had. So, accept
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And when that comes through, I hope that they learn to heal more.
The invitation can be um, the medium, and the healing in the mediumship session can be for the person who's alive and grieving, but it can also be for the spirit. And the medium oftentimes, and I've had to do this, introduce a healing process to the spirit on the other side because they just didn't know, and they're showing up to learn. But I also feel that I mean, you could have don't ask for advice from somebody in spirit. Don't ask for financial advice for somebody in spirit who went bankrupt while they were alive because they didn't figure it out yet. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And or relationships, if you've
yeah,
got, that aunt who was married 7 times
yeah.
and you want to know if this guy is the one, she's not the one to ask,
No, she's not.
you know,
Yeah,
find somebody who has the relationship you're looking for
yeah,
and say, hey, is this that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is a beautiful, beautiful advice. I like that. Ask the person who knows. Go to the, yeah.
Yeah.
Go to the one, or if you're looking for financial advice, sort through all your family members and go to the one who had a sense of how money works
Yeah.
in life. That are, yeah, relationships, money, and our grandparents. I love giving readings from grandparents because they know us so well, and but they're not attached like the parent, but they understand the family dynamics, and they know all the huzzarai that went on, and their advice is usually pretty sound.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what else I like, and this has been happening for some of my students lately, is people that they don't expect are coming through.
right, yes,
And it's these very people, I tell people that the message that you get is dependent on who you get it from. So knowing who you're getting it from is important. Um, if I get a text from my daughter that says, come home now, it means I'm late for dinner and she's hungry. If I get that same text, come home now, from my neighbor, he's a cop. My house is on fire. Something bad's going on. You know, Run the red light, get home right this second. So the same message from different people has different meanings.
Mm. That is so true. Yeah. Where's yes, as we have said, well, where's that coming from, dude? Who's
Yeah.
who's
So
telling you that? Yeah.
so some people will say, you've got so many people who are on your side. Thanks, mom. You've always said stuff like that. I'm not going to believe you. It's not that I don't believe you,
Yeah.
but I'm not really going to take it. But
Yeah.
somebody who comes in who's totally unexpected, hey, I'm the neighbor from down the street from when you were 5. Or, I'm your great uncle Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm looking over you because I care about you. It's like, but I didn't know you in life. It's like,
I
there's a
didn't know
lot
you
of
were
us you
this
didn't
big.
know in life who still care about you and are looking over you.
And when you get those messages, it just brings home so truly that there are people, spirit, looking out for you, very interested in your well-being.
Yeah.
And we don't know that. We forget it, or we're just not aware of it, or we haven't brought it home to our hearts yet.
And we
And
need to, I
we need
think.
to. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing is if you go to a meeting and you get those messages, um, don't say no to them. I remember one woman I brought in her ballet dancer when she was 5. She goes, "Well, why would I want to know about her?" I said, "Because she's teaching you grace." Does that make sense? But don't say no to any spirit if you recognize them. Invite them in, let them come in. We don't know who our soul's group is a lot of times. And I am a strong believer in soul groups, and sometimes our soul groups, they're all around us, but they might not be our parents. They might not be our best friend. They may be the mailman, or they might be the second grade teacher, to make sure that we're on our path without getting in our face, without telling us what to do. So let those people come in. Say, love them up.
And we talk about guides. We've got guides who are with us for our entire lives.
Oh,
And we've got
yeah.
other guides who come and go, depending on the
Yeah,
circumstances.
absolutely. Yeah, the teacher guides that um, we graduate from them and get another one, but the ones the guardian angels or the we have at least 7 guides around us at any given time, which is amazing to me. That is just amazing to me. But yeah, let's talk about guides. Yeah,
So I love having them. I love knowing they're there. I love knowing that they're accessible to me at any time. I can, ask a question. But when I was pregnant, I had a guide who was with me, and I had a very difficult pregnancy.
mm,
And guide was right there with me the whole time, keeping me safe when things were going really, really south. And then as soon as the baby was born, I felt the guide leaving, and I'm like, "Where are you going?" The guide's like, "I don't do babies."
just 2 pregnancies. Seriously? Oh my goodness.
It's like, I got somebody else who's pregnant who needs help. There's people who do babies. Bye.
Oh my
So
gosh.
having the right guide at the right time for the right thing is important. Um, so having these specialists who come in and help us with whatever it is, like the woman you were talking about before, with the grace, being able to go
Yeah,
back in her mind to what was being taught to her then and remembering. And a lot of this is just us remembering.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true. It meant remembering um, that we're spirit. We are
Yeah, who
born.
we are.
We forget. I don't know why this. Who designed this? We forget when we're born, but the rest of our lives we spend remembering and reconnecting. But it's still worth having an awesome life, and it's in having the guidance. I always say to people, you don't have to be aware of your guides or not. It's just easier. They
Yeah.
they know what you're here to do. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, why don't you go to spend some time? And I say this to myself all the time: go back to the guides, open up. They didn't go anywhere. You just kind of fritzed out on them. Go back to the guides. I love the angels. I love working with the angels too. I'll sit down and when things go really bad, I just really pull my team in and say, I just think I messed up somewhere along the way. Can you help me fix this? Or what? Or whatever. And I also feel when things are wayward on spiritual, in a spiritual, there's a energy around you that you don't care for, or there's things that keep showing up. The angels and the guides can help you clear it out. And if you're not quite sure what is the protocol, what is it that I need to do? The protocol is call your guides in close and say, let's fix this. And
Because they know what to do.
yeah. And if you're in a big emotion and you feel like you're going to blow up the world, pull them in closer and have the big emotion in that safe space. So we don't always have the answer. And we think we should have the answer. We think we should know more. And we get really hard on ourselves. But you know what? The answer is there with the guides. It's there with the angels. It's there with spirit. And to get that burden off your back.
And it doesn't cost anything. It's not like you got to spend $1 million to be able or have to go somewhere. They're right here with you.
They are. The thing it could cost you is you got to be honest with yourself. That might be the big price you have to pay.
That can be hard, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have so many cookies. You're right. But yeah, this has been a wonderful, wonderful chat with you. And so if anyone is interested in learning about what Lisa does, you can definitely find her on her Facebook page, Starlight Academy for Metaphysical Studios. Go to her website, journeywithlisa.com, Facebook, message her. And if you have any questions about what she teaches or what I teach or what's going to be happening in the near future, contact her, contact me, and we'll fill you in. And do you have any last words, Lisa?
I just want to say thank you, Nancy. It's always fun talking with you. And I really am looking forward to you coming in August. And I hope everybody comes and checks out what you're going to do with us. And we'll have it up in Facebook
Thanks.
pretty
Yeah.
soon. But it's going to be awesome.
It'll be awesome. We'll talk about it again before August gets here. But and Lily Dale is an amazing experience. So I hope that this helps you to feel comfortable about going to have these to travel twice. Pennsylvania in August, June go to Lilydale. There, it's learn. Bring your teachers close to you and learn. It
Yeah.
will open up your life. So for now, I want to give you the blessings of spirit to Lisa and to her friends and to everyone who's listening to this podcast. Go forth with courage and know that in this time of change, as you change with spirit, it's a gas. It's wonderful. It's fun. It's beautiful. So stay safe, stay in love, and remember to love spirit. So that's it for now.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.